Do the Jacksonville Jaguars enjoy doing this? Do they enjoy making us suffer? Because one thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars is that they refuse to win a normal football game. It has to be stressful and it has to be agonizing. And that this game against the Raiders was exactly that. What's going on, everyone? This is Jag Central, and I hope you're all doing well. And welcome for a very confusing victory recap. The Jaguars went into Vegas and escaped, and I mean escaped with a 30-29 overtime win. We're 5-3, we're in the playoff hunt, but my goodness, this team never ever takes the easy route. We came out of the bye, and teams, when they go into the bye, one thing they like to do is to clean up the football that they're playing. They like to become more disciplined. But one thing the Jacksonville Jaguars did is they said, you know what, we're not going to come out and be clean and disciplined. We're going to be sloppy and we're going to be undisciplined. And that's exactly what we did. But at the end of the day, a win is a win and you have to take it. If you're new to this channel, one thing that I like to do is, when I do my game recaps, is do 3 big takeaways. So I like to go through 3 big takeaways. Usually the 3 big takeaways is part of what I see during the game, but sometimes it can be stuff that has been going on over the last few weeks, and I can kind of bring it into this week's recap and kind of use it as a takeaway. So if you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe, but let's just get straight into my first takeaway. And the first takeaway is this team's identity is running the football, and they finally leaned into this game. It took them until the second half to realize this, because the last few games against the Seahawks and against the Rams, I feel like we've abandoned the run, because in the first 4 weeks of the season we were dominant running the ball. ETN was averaging over 6 yards a carry. In the last 3 weeks before the Raiders game, we kind of collapsed and kind of abandoned the run, and we kind of started running, averaging about 3.8 yards per carry. But against the Raiders in the second half, they committed to it, and the Jaguars ran the ball 42 times for 151 yards. Travis Etienne had 22 carries. And that's exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars need to do. They need to commit to the run, because this team is a very, very good running team. We went with a heavy O-line. We went with 6 offensive linemen so many times and just said, you know what, stop us if you can. And the Raiders just could not stop us running the ball. And when you can run the ball, you control the clock. When you control the clock, you keep the ball away from the other team. It sets up the passing game as well. And that's exactly how we've managed to win this game. And this has to be the formula for the Jacksonville Jaguars. My second takeaway is that the discipline is still awful. The bye week was supposed to hopefully fix the discipline, but this team is still its own enemy. They found a way to be more undisciplined in this game. So we came out the bye and we had 9 more accepted penalties for 80 yards. We're still averaging the most penalty yards or penalties in the NFL, and it's killing us. We had illegal motion penalties wiping out an 8-yard gain and a 17-yard gain. We had a holding penalty that wiped out, I think, a 25-yard pass to Hunter Long, who also got injured himself on that catch as well. We had a roughing the passer on Josh Allen, and then to top it all off, Trayvon Walker got himself ejected by throwing a punch in a close game. This pattern of undisciplined football, it's just not one guy, it's the whole team. And it's a miracle that we found a way to win this game, because we were trying to beat ourselves as we've done in previous weeks. And this has to be cleaned up, because if it isn't, it's going to cost us a game again in the future, and we can't afford to lose any more games, because we're really, really close to catching the Indianapolis Colts. We've got a big game against the Texans next week, so it's key that the Jacksonville Jaguars clean up this discipline going into next week. The third takeaway is the Devin Lloyd hole in the defense. It is so obvious that the team is missing Devin Lloyd. The blueprint currently to beat the team is essentially go down the middle, and Brock Bowers, he absolutely cooked us. And it could literally just be because he's one of the best tight ends in the league, or one of the best or is the best tight end in the league. But the whole Raiders game plan was just literally to attack the middle of the field, and they literally did that. Without Devin Lloyd, our best and most athletic coverage linebacker, we have a massive gaping hole in the middle of our defense, and that's a huge problem. Every team from here on out is going to copy this blueprint until Devin Lloyd is back on the field. And the injuries for this team, not just on the defense side as well, because we had quite a lot of guys missing in the secondary as well, is quite key. So hopefully next week against the Houston Texans, we find a way to kind of minimize that effect. But now you know my takeaways. is that number one, this team has to lean into the running game. Number two, the discipline is still awful. We need to find a way to fix that. And on defense, we need to find a way to minimize when Devin Lloyd is missing to kind of tighten it up. But hopefully Devin Lloyd should be back next week against the Texans. So let's go into the first quarter and the second quarter, to be honest, because not really much happened in both of those quarters. First quarter especially, the Jags put together a monster 17-play, 10-minute drive, and Trevor threw a terrible red zone interception on the goal line. It was so thing. So we ended up leaving a 17-play, 10-minute drive with no points. The second quarter was kind of the same as well. The Raiders went in and scored a touchdown. They went up 6-0 and they missed their extra point. And heading into the second half, we thought, all right, cool, we're not going to get any points. We're going to be scoreless going into the second half. And Cam Little goes up and sets an NFL record of a 68-yard field goal. It was unbelievable. And I feel like that was kind of the spark the team needed. And it was really good to see that as well, because Cam Little has been struggling, and it was amazing to see him hit that field goal. And one thing I've been saying about Cam Little this season and last season, I think he's the best kicker in the league. And one thing I've always been saying is that Cam Little is one of the best NFL kickers in the league. Not many people know about him, but hopefully now people know who he is and the ability that he has to kick from that far out. Just unbelievable. The other thing I was going to say is about Cam Little is I kind of feel like there was the 48-yarder, the one to tie the game. Well, actually, you know what? I'll get to it when I get into the fourth quarter. But the third quarter, we came out and we got an interception on the first drive of the Raiders. That set us up for a field goal, and we tied it up at 6-6. The Raiders go up again and tie it with a field goal to go 9-6, and then this is where Trayvon Walker got himself ejected, and we went into the fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter is where the chaos started. 5 lead changes. The Jags scored on Trevor Lawrence run to go up 13-9. And one thing I need to say is that Trevor Lawrence needs to use his feet around the red zone, because he is such a weapon with his feet around that area. Then the Raiders went up and answered with a touchdown to go up 16-13. The Jags answered that with a Bayshore 2 and run to go up 20-16. And then the Raiders answer again with a Brock Bowers touchdown to go up 23-20. And this is where Trevor Lawrence had to drive his team down up the field, get us into at least field goal position, or win us the game. He got us into field goal position, 48 yards for Cam Little to tie the game, and he ties it. So this is why I kind of wanted to speak about Cam Little. He has the ability to kick from 68 yards, and the one from 68 yards was straight down the middle. But for some reason, even this season I've kind of clocked is that when he takes anything from like 30 to 50, for some reason I feel like he kind of shanks it to one side. It's not straight down the middle. I'm forgetting the kicker's name for the Ravens. Oh, Justin Tucker. Whenever he takes it, was always down the middle. So you was never thinking, oh damn, that almost missed. But Cam Little, I feel like it's never straight down the middle. So something needs to change there, because it's going in at the moment, but like as in it was going in against the Raiders. But we need to make sure that he can find a way of just like getting it down the middle. In overtime, we won the toss and we took the ball, and that was a bold decision from Liam Cohen, because if we took the ball and we didn't score a field goal or a touchdown, the Raiders could have went up and scored a field goal and won the game. But Austin Trammell had a huge kick return, puts us in great field position. Trevor Lawrence gets us down to the 1 yard line, and then that's where we literally had to cap off the drive with a 4th and goal, and he had a Superman dive into the end zone to make it 30-23. The Raiders come back, and they had a good huge kick return as well, which put them in good field position as well. And then Brock Bowers, you just can't stop that guy. He scores, they go up 30-29, and they go for it. They go for the 2 to win it, and Hamilton just bats down the pass at the line. Absolutely heart-stopping win, and it was amazing. So the Jags limp away with a win and move to 5-3, and they're still holding that final wildcard spot in the AFC. And with the Colts losing this week, and now we've got a massive divisional game next week against the Houston Texans. Their quarterback CJ Stroud suffered a concussion. I'm not going to really speak too much about it, because it's kind of something similar that happened to Trevor Lawrence last season. And this is a game that Jaguars have to win. Another sloppy penalty-filled game. Houston could win that, and Houston go in and play a clean, dominant game, they're gonna basically win that game. So we have to make sure that we win this game. We shouldn't go into it and think CJ Stroud isn't winning and we're gonna win this game. Games are not played on paper. We have to go in, dominate the line of scrimmage, dominate the mental side where we are not having accepted penalties, and we go and win that game. So that's my 2 cents on the Jaguars win over the Raiders. At the end of the day, you take the win and you move on. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.